good? This is Kupfull with Kennedi, and we're back on another Zoom session. I have a special guest, Hezekiah Gatson, the owner of IGI Design Custom Woodworking. So first I have to ask you, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. How
Okay,
about you?
I'm doing good. Just trying to
Awesome.
stay focused, in the house, quarantining, all that. So yeah.
Mm.
So IGI stands for I Got Ideas. So I want to first ask you what ideas and intentions did you have behind your business when you started back in 2018?
Um, I don't know that I had any specific ideas, but the intentions were to just kind of use the creative abilities that I had and kind of pour those out. And it just kind of gave me an outlet to do that with woodworking. I consider myself an artist first. And so as an artist, or creator rather, you just have all these juices that you kind of need to get out. And my medium, if you will, was wood. So uh, that's kind of where that goes.
Okay, so I like the path you chose. It's very different. It's not something you see all the time. So before your business, you studied architecture in
Mhm.
school. So were your classes, did it kind of meet your expectations of everything that you wanted to learn?
My expectations were a lot lower,
Okay.
to be honest with you. University of Arkansas was a bit of a culture shock for me, just coming from Southwest Little Rock. But it was also just way more than I, had planned on biting off. And so once I settled in, the design piece of the architecture program, minus all the book work, but the drawing, the model building and all that, I fell right in that. But then there's a whole nother side, book work, where you're learning history and, you're learning algebra and, different equations for load bearing, floors and stuff like that. That was the difficult thing. So those things I didn't even know to expect in order to have an expectation met. Um, so yeah, my expectations were blown, out of the water once I got into that program.
Okay, well, that's great. I'm glad that you still liked it once you got into the program because a lot of people they kind of hop in something and they don't like their major and then they're in school longer. So I'm glad that you hit it right on the nail. So when you were transitioning out of college and finding a job, what was that experience like? Kind of having that security for yourself and being prepared for whatever happened.
It was a little tough. I came out in 2007. The year before the housing crisis, which me being in architecture and design, you know, being one of the newest at anywhere, whatever firm you were at, wherever you were designing, if you were one of the newest, you were one of the first out the door as when they was doing layoffs. And so I got caught up in that as well. Um, and so it was a little tough, very discouraging. But you just kind of fight through it and find something else in the meantime.
Setbacks in life is kind of, you gotta just look at it, learn your lesson, and kind of push forward instead of just being stuck in that place. So,
Yeah.
definitely. Once you transitioned into the work field, you were working, and I want to know, do you feel like you had any advantages working for a previous employer before you actually entered the entrepreneur world?
Yeah. So specifically, I guess, when I was working with Julian and Sons in Heber Springs, Arkansas, that was before I left Arkansas. I was working for them and they really gave me my start. I mean, they trusted, a kid with no experience to come in and do conceptual drawings for them, and kind of use my ideas to match whatever a customer wanted. And I saw a lot of my designs go into production, right? And so that experience and that confidence that they gave me pretty much, set me up to um, be able to kind of go on my own, or at least be confident enough to design my own stuff. Now, the building of it was a whole nother beast, but the designing of my own stuff and being confident in those designs, they definitely gave me the confidence to do that.
I agree with that. You were saying having that confidence is very much needed. So when you actually started your business, not only did you need the confidence in your brand, but you actually need like a plan to construct a plan. So what was any advice that you have with constructing your business plan, especially when you're starting from nothing?
I tried launching 3 times and I didn't get it until the 3rd time. And so the first 2 times I jumped out the gate. I didn't write anything down. I didn't have any expectations. It was just, hey, I got a passion for this. I want to do it, right? And so it wasn't until the 3rd time when I actually sat down, put pen to pad, and develop a plan of attack. And even then, it wasn't as in depth as it probably should have been, but it was enough to kind of get me started. So I definitely think, you got to have a plan to get started. And, without it, I think you're just destined to fail to an extent.
I can agree with that. When I started my podcast, a plan was definitely needed. Like you said, you were writing things down. Putting pen to paper is very essential, so you don't forget anything and you just have those ideas going. And kind of prevents you from getting stuck sometimes. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be afraid. And I said pen to paper, but it probably should be a pencil, right? Because, you're going to erase along the way and you kind of redraw where you're going, what that path may look like. So I guess that probably was a lot of my hesitation in planning anything, was because I move better off the seat of my pants, right? And so it's a little fearful for me to put something on paper and to try to follow that as an outline. But one thing, like I said, one thing that I've learned is it's definitely needed in business. If anything, just to keep you on track so that you don't forget, hey, I got to do this, I got a deadline here, got a deadline there. So that was super important.
Yeah, I love the information that you're giving about that. I agree with it. So we are going to take a break, and it's game time with K. Marie. So our game today is, do you know your music? So I have, it's more like a trivia. So I have some history, some Black music history for you. You got to just see if you know the answers to them.
Okay.
See if you really know.
Is it a specific genre? What? No.
I say R&B, hip hop, kind of like a trivia in those areas.
Like your hip hop and R&B, or my hip hop and R&B? Because there's a bit of an age gap there.
Yes, I made sure that I didn't go to mine, because oh my goodness, y'all just act like we are just so far away from y'all. So yes, I made sure that I got some good questions this time for our trivia. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna see if you know your music. So the first one is, so basically, yeah, you'll just have to guess. So this flamboyant Public Enemy rapper made wearing a necklace consisting of clocks and timepieces a fashion statement in the 80s.
It's Flavor Flav.
Yep, Flavor
Flav.
I wish that show would come back, because I wasn't really allowed to.
Are you serious? That was a terrible show.
But it was. But now.
Oh, that was a terrible show. That show, and I watched it. Now, I ain't gonna lie and say I didn't watch it. I watched it, but that show set us up for what reality TV is today. And it's a terrible show. I'm just gonna say that.
I would like to just be part of it. I never got to watch it. So.
I'm sure you can find it. Go YouTube it.
You're right. So the next one is, this pop star comes from a very famous musical family and held a recurring role in the 1970s sitcom Good Times.
Pop star? Oh, you're talking about Janet Jackson.
Yep.
Miss Jackson. Yeah.
All right. So we're doing good. All right. So the next one is, she won season 3 of American Idol.
Oh, season 3?
Mm-hmm. You should just be like.
And you said a she. Yeah. Oh, so it has to be Fantasia, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Barino, is that how you say it?
Barino.
Fantasia.
I think.
Look, we just
Yeah.
Y'all know who we talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is, what is Jay-Z's real name?
Oh, come on now. GOAT. GOAT. Nah, Sean Carter.
All right, I'll just check it. Just check it. See if you know. All right, so the next one is, name the inspirational gospel singer who performed at President Barack Obama's first presidential inauguration 2009. P.S. We miss you, Obama. This person also is known as the Queen of Soul.
Queen. Wait a second. You said gospel singer?
Gospel singer. They put her down as a gospel singer, but I didn't.
Okay. All right. At the inauguration, that would have been Miss Aretha Franklin.
Yes, correct. That was good. Okay. So the next one is, what Michael Jackson album was the second best-selling album ever? What you think?
The second best-selling album ever.
Second best.
Can you tell me what the first best-selling album is?
I can't tell you that because I
Can't
don't.
tell me that. So I know Thriller went diamond. And I feel like the second best, it has to be Thriller then.
What you think?
Thriller. The first one has to be like the Beatles or something, but I think the first, didn't Drake pass him, or he passed him in record sales? Mm-hmm. I don't think it was an album then, but I think the Beatles may have. I don't know. Don't get me to.
Drake passed the Beatles.
Yeah.
Okay, so your answer is the Thriller, right?
I don't know. Is it? Yeah, it's Thriller. Okay.
Correct. That was right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you went with your first. All right. So the next one is, Uncle Charlie Wilson was the lead singer in this award-winning band.
Gap.
The Gap band.
Yeah. Yep. Well, you gotta come harder than this.
Man, I should have. I really should have. I was just trying to make it easy because I did some artists from my generation, you would have been foolish.
I know about. I know who is little. Y'all got all these little Dirks and Lil Turk and Yachty and
Lil Yachty,
Cruise Boat and all that.
Oh my.
That sound like your parents though.
Yes, you do. All right, so the next one is, this rapper won Academy Awards as part of the cast for the movie Crash.
Crash. I remember that movie, but I don't remember no rapper in it. Can I get a hint?
I mean, you've seen this rapper in other movies as well.
Crash?
I wouldn't say recently, but in the last two.
And Crash, that's that movie where that's that movie where everybody's kind of situation crashes together in some way, right? I don't remember the cast in that. I would have said Usher, because Usher was in a lot of movies at that time, but you said he was a rapper. Mm-hmm. And so
he was out during the time when Usher was out as well. But you've seen him on the TV screen plenty of times.
He was a rapper.
Car movies, yes. Rapper.
In car movies?
Yes.
So if we're talking car movies, then I'm thinking you're talking about Fast and the Furious. And if you're talking about Fast and the Furious, the only rapper in there, well, it'll be two, right? So you're talking about Bow Wow and Luda.
Bow Wow?
And it's probably Ludacris.
Which one you gonna go with? I'm
gonna go with Ludacris.
Ludacris?
Yes. All right.
But I got you hints. I should have.
When you said car movie, that's what did it. It was like, okay.
All right, so I have two more for you. So this one, there's multiple answers to this one. So What other music genres evolved as a result of R&B music? So you can give me 3.
You said evolved out of R&B?
Yes. A result of the success of R&B music. What do you think evolved out of that? What kind of music?
Neo soul.
Okay. That's one.
Out of R&B.
Yeah,
I could say what R&B where that came from, but I don't know what R&B birthed. I just like neo soul would be one for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got me on this one.
I got you on this one about time. So your answers could have been soul, disco, funk.
See, that's I gotta disagree with you. I don't know where you're getting this trivia from. Like you can't believe what you find on the internet.
I can't believe it.
I would have thought that R&B was birthed out of soul, or I would have thought all of those would have been the other way around because I would have thought they were there first. Mm-hmm. Like funk would have came from rock and roll, R&B would have came from funk. In some way, but I don't know.
Hey, I'm not saying this is just the trivia, but yeah, it does say neo soul on here. It says rock and roll, pop, and hip hop. That's what it's saying.
I can see pop.
So
yeah. Okay.
So that was a little controversial, but you still got it on.
They said hip hop. Hip hop came from R&B. I'm sampling. I guess sampling. Yeah. All of your early R&B was all sampled music. So okay. All right. You got me.
Okay. You got me. About time. You get into it. Okay. So, of course, you should know this one. So, who is known as the king of pop?
King of pop? That's Mike Jack.
Mike Jack. Yep. Yeah. All right. So, I guess you do know your music. I should have chose some harder questions. So.
What I get? Do I get something?
About my age, my artist.
I'm just saying. I know some of it. I like some of today's music. I like Roddy Ricch. Okay. I like Lil Baby. Who else y'all got in this generation? I like some of the Baby's music. Okay. I really like Roddy Ricch.
Yeah, I really like him. He put out a good album.
Yeah, is Griselda y'all generation? So you don't even know who he is.
Who?
Griselda. It's a group. It's out of Buffalo, New York. So Griselda probably, I guess, would still be. I don't even know how old them cats are, but they're out right now. They dope. Who else y'all got that I like? I like some. Well, that's R&B.
You thinking of hip hop?
Yeah. What's y'all got?
You listen to Gunna, Young Thug?
I like Gunna. Young Thug is, I guess he would be y'all generation, but he been out for a while. I'm talking about like now.
Okay, you talking about now.
I couldn't stand Young Thug at first, but I like him now. Yeah. But most of these guys I don't too much care for.
I understand. It gets a little crazy out here with the artists, but there's some good music out there though. So,
it is. It's good. It's okay. Really good.
So since we're on the subject of music, what's playing in your ears when you're in the zone grinding doing woodwork?
Oh, I'm usually listening to podcasts.
Okay.
The funny thing is music was like my lifeline. I used to love music. I was up on everything that came out back, in my day, like I'm old, but years ago. But now I still like music, but the artists that I grew up to aren't making music as often. And I like what I like, right? And so I mentioned Griselda because that's of a sound that I like. And that's very different than what's out right now. And so, but most of the time in the shop, I'm listening to a podcast, Joe Budden's podcast. I listen to The Read. I listen to Jesus and Jalal. I listen to, of course, The Breakfast Club. Eric Thomas got a podcast I listen to often. I got a buddy here in Nashville who used to do a podcast on financial kind of tools, and I used to listen to his podcast. But I typically listen to podcasts. I like talk radio. I listen to that. Just a lot of commentary is what I typically listen to in the shop. But if I'm playing music, of course I'm listening to Nas, Jay-Z, Griselda. That's what I'm really on right now. Let's see here. I like I like going to like playlists for like Atlanta artists. I'll listen to Atlanta artists. I'll just put it, Atlanta artist playlist. I'll do that. Of course, like I said, Roddy Ricch. I really do like his music a lot. Yeah, that's about it. So.
Cool. So it sounds like there's a good vibe going in there.
Yeah.
Earlier you were talking about you are from Arkansas, you're from Southwest, just like me, represent. So so you moved out of Arkansas and you went to Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
How was that adjusting to a new environment, a new place, kind of like a new mindset?
Yeah. So it was scary. Not scary in a sense where I was hesitant to do it. I wasn't hesitant at all. But just scary in not knowing what to expect once I got here. Coming from Little Rock, Little Rock being the biggest city, if you will, in Arkansas, it's still small compared to a lot of other places. And so coming here, that was a little bit intimidating, even though Nashville isn't just, it's not the size of Dallas or anything like that, but it's a decent sized city. It was a bit intimidating just not knowing anybody here. But it was exciting at the same time because it was an opportunity to kind of restart and learn something for somewhere else. So yeah.
Okay, and I know that when we talked previously, you were saying how you shouldn't be afraid to take those L's, take those losses. It's okay to start over when you're in a new environment. That's how you felt. It's okay to be the new guy, as you put it. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, took a lot of L's. Took a lot of L's, but I forget. There's a line. I forget what artist say it, but I'm paraphrasing here, and they just kind of say, I think it was Drake. He said something about, he took a lot of L's, but he learned a lot of lessons, something like that. I can't think off the top of my head, but no, I mean, there's lessons in those failures, and so it's not really a failure if you learn something. And like I said, I took a lot of, but I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it. I don't want to do it over again, but I wouldn't change it.
I agree. So like during those times, when before you learned the lesson, it just seemed like an L. So what pushed you to just keep going past that L, even though it kind of seemed repetitive, or it seemed that you were very stagnant at some point?
Yeah. So I'm blessed to have a wife who, for lack of a better phrase, and this is going to sound real cheesy, right, that I can look up to, right? And I've told her this before, like her grind, the way she went about her career is, is something that I wish I would have patterned off of. Mm-hmm. Even though I know she took some setbacks, she's had, some barriers and things like that, some hurdles to cross. I think that she set up her plan to succeed. Yeah. And so knowing that this is the person that I'm with, there's a certain standard that I got to meet, and so that was definitely a push. Just seeing her grind, wanting to match that, if not beat it, wanting to match that at least, because I knew that if if I wasn't going to match it, then I had no business, being with her for and I don't know how that sounds, but but yeah, like, nah, she was truly an inspiration. Like I said, just watching her throughout her career has been a huge inspiration. And so even with starting IGI, relaunching in 2018, that came from me seeing her start Reflections and grind that out, as well as seeing a couple other folks that, we're friends with, watching them start up. But she was definitely a huge part in the push.
Yeah. So that just goes to say it's important who you have surrounding you, because during those times sometimes you need that outside push or that outside encouragement to just keep going. So shout out to Wifey for encouraging and inspiring you. So that's great. So I wanted to know what kind of steps or what is your process of perfecting your craft whenever you're starting a new project, you have a new request in. How do you just perfect and make it better?
So you don't recreate the wheel, right? Nothing is new under the sun. So as much as I like to say, hey, I'm a custom designer, I design everything to your specifications, I pull inspiration from somewhere, right? And that could be Pinterest, that can be going to a furniture store, looking around, that could be looking in trees. I mean, I can get it from anywhere, right? And so I'm typically taking something from somewhere and then making it my own. And usually that's how my designs go. I get, a person will seek me out, or, they'll see something that I've done, and we'll go through a phase where they're telling me what they want. And, hey, if you have any pictures, send them to me. And then we'll take those pictures and then make it their own. So I may change, the height of something, the width of something. It may be lines right here. We may put them somewhere else. We may take them away altogether. But, the inspiration comes and we just kind of make it, their own. But yeah, I pull from wherever. I have a couple of projects right now that I'm working on that I pulled one of them. I think I pulled inspiration from the Jordan documentary, the 5-part series that was on ESPN a few weeks ago. And I can't wait to show that one. And then another one just kind of came from the other one that I'm working on. It came from what's that thing called? A Beats Peel, the Beats Peel speaker. Mm-hmm. So you'll see that one. And again, neither one of those are, things that have never been done before, but they're mine. And so, yeah.
That's really great when you can just see your artwork in people's house or your woodwork in people's house and say, yeah, that was my idea, I created it.
Oh, that's the dopest thing ever.
Yeah. And I'm pretty the experience of actually sitting down with someone, well, for the client's perspective, sitting down and actually bringing something to life instead of just going to the store and, picking it up off the shelf. You actually had that interaction and be able to create something that maybe wasn't your goal, but it was better than what you expected, I'm
going to tell you something. So there's a guy, a mentor of mine, was a woodworker. He told me that there's no project that I will ever do that I don't mess up. Like, I'll never do a project perfectly, mm-hmm. right? There's always going to be something that's messed up, for lack of a better phrase, on every piece that I do. But that's what makes it custom. That's what makes it unique, right? And another mentor of mine taught me that as long as you can come back from that mistake, meaning if you make a mistake, not necessarily cover it up, but how do you react and respond to that mistake once it happens, right? So when I hand you something, is the first thing that you see as the mistake, or do you see the overall beauty of the piece? Yeah. And you never notice the mistake until I point it out to you. And most of the time, I'm never going to point it out to you, but do you notice it? And if you never notice it, then the mistake just kind of blended into the beauty of the product. And so to this day, there's no project that I've ever done that I haven't had some sort of mistake on. But again, like I said, the beauty in it is maneuvering around that mistake and then kind of making that a piece of the design. So
I love the way that you put that. That's a great way to put it that way. So, is there like a favorite project that you've done?
there is. I got a few. I got a few. I would probably say the number one project that I've done, and I've chased this project since I've done it. It's the second piece that I've ever built.
Yeah.
And when I look back at that piece, it's a piece that I would do very differently today. I'm a way better woodworker than I was then.
Yeah.
But the piece itself, from a design standpoint, and what I had, the tools that I used to build it. So it was my second piece. It was an entertainment center. I built it for a guy that I went to college with. He had just bought a house and he knew I was doing woodworking, and he was like, "Hey, can you design me a thing?" And I was like, "Cool." First of all, I lost a ton of money on it because I didn't price it out right. That was learning. And then I didn't have the necessary tools to build it. This was when I first started up, so I didn't have most of the tools I needed, but I borrowed what I thought I needed. And I made that entertainment center. It was like this tower, and it had like cabinets at the top with adjustable shelves at the top and at the bottom. In the middle of the tower, it had a fish tank that I designed and put in there, and that was super dope. And then in the middle, it had this kind of knee-high 3-door cabinet, and then on the right side, it had another tower with stackable pull-out drawers and some shelving. So it was really dope, but it was finished terribly. The drawers on it didn't really pull out the way they should have. They were super tight. I remember painting it with a roller outside in like 100-degree weather, so the paint didn't dry well. But
Right.
he didn't. I ain't gonna say he didn't notice it, because if he did notice, he never said anything. But he accepted the piece when I delivered it. He paid the rest of the bill, and he never gave me a bad review. And so, but to this day, like, I know where all my mistakes were. I know the things that I should have done differently, but that probably, from a design standpoint, just the essence of that piece was the best project that I've done. Now, from a design standpoint, I did a 3D cutting board. And so it was a cutting board that looks like, it really looks 3D. It looks like you can grab it. Yeah. But it's a flat piece. That's probably the best designed piece that I've done. But I got a lot of them. I got a lot of work out there now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great that you had those opportunities just to bring a new piece into someone's home. So
yeah.
There a project that was like difficult or like really time consuming, like you didn't know it was gonna take that much time to do it?
Yeah. Actually, in Little Rock, you're in Little Rock, you may know her, America Prophet. I did a she has a beauty bar. I think she calls it a beauty bar, over behind Children's Hospital in Little Rock. I did her pedicure stand. And that was a very fun project. It was different for me. It's a huge project. That involved me designing it in such a way to where I can bring it in and then somebody else comes in and runs pipe through it. So it wasn't mine totally, because it wasn't finished once I set it up, right? And so I had to design it in such a way to where they can still come in and do what they do without messing with the essence of the piece. But yeah, it was a difficult piece that, once I got into it, it was just like, oh man, what did I start? But those are the best ones, right? Because it challenges you. And so now I'm not afraid to tackle anything that big. I know I can design it. I know I can build it, so it opened me up for a bunch of other pieces.
Yeah, that sounds like details, details, details. That was a
Yeah.
lot of figuring out. You never wonder. Well, I guess someone who goes in there and doesn't think about all the things that went into it. But yeah, I never even thought about all those little things that you have to have right in the
Yeah.
process. So yeah,
Yeah. And most of those things you don't find, like, I'm not gonna say you don't find them out, but you don't think about until you get into the project, right? And so like when she contacted me, and I'll just use her as an example. When she contacted me, she sent me some pictures, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can build that, no problem. So I drew something out, sent it to her, boom, and now she pays the deposit, and now it's time to to
work.
pony up.
Yeah.
And so I get into the project, and then I'm like, oh shoot, like I didn't take this into account. So now you're having to go back to the drawing, you know, not redo the drawing, but update it in such a way, and then shoot it to her to make sure she's okay with the changes, and then get it back, and then jump back on it and get in it, only to run into another issue. But again, if I had to do another one, I know exactly what I'm getting into. So those are the best ones, though. And I guess in anything you do, there's gonna be something new at some point. You know what I mean? And so until you do it a second time, it's gonna be new.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah.
So you saying when you were doing that project, you realized you had to go back and fill some things out. And so during that time, or just during any time where you have situations like that, what are your strategies of keeping your patience and not trying to get flustered and get bogged down in all the frustration? Because sometimes it can be frustrating. You just want to throw everything away. But how do you just keep that patient and just stay focused?
Walk away from it.
Okay.
That's about the best thing. Walk away from it. Walk away from it. I try to do multiple jobs at one time. Therefore, if I get hung up on one, I can go to another one. Therefore, I'm still productive. There's no dead time. That doesn't always work because I don't always have paid projects. But I'm at a point now to where I have my own stuff that I'm working on as well. And so I can tend to, for the most part, always have something else to kind of take me away if I get stuck somewhere. The tough part about that is jumping back on it after you're frustrated,
Yeah.
because you can get so engulfed in what you jump to where you don't want to go back to it. But again, you also have that intimidation factor. If you're working on something that you get frustrated with it, now you're intimidated by it, and you don't know where to go. I guess I've been fortunate because I do have a few mentors in woodworking that I can always call, and they can kind of tell me, hey, this is where you got hung up. This is how you fix it. This is what you need to scrap. This is what you need to do, or whatever. And then wanting to get it right kind of always brings me back to it. So.
I like it. I like the strategies you got going there, and it's definitely another thing. Going back to that project, you kind of get to procrastinating if you don't want to really get back to it and stuff like that. So just trying to keep that motivation up, keep that energy high to just push through it, get it finished. Is crucial. So Hezekiah Gatson, I want to thank you for coming on and spilling your cup full today. I hope that you enjoyed the interview.
I did. This was fun.
Okay, yes, I enjoyed it. So everyone listening, thanks for tuning in. I hope that you guys got a cup full with IGI Designs, and make sure that you guys are staying safe out here, staying hydrated because it's very, very hot, and stay hustling, stay hungry, and stay humble. And I'll see you on the next cup full.